Shakespeare in the Schools is an educational outreach program of Montana Shakespeare in the Parks. We strive to bring high school kids mostly an educational experience that is theatrically exciting, and we try to bring Shakespeare off the page and onto the stage as he was originally meant to be performed. It wasn't until I saw Shakespeare performed live with high quality professional actors that I began to see what Shakespeare was all about. None of that meant anything to me as I looked at it on a page. And I wanted to bring that same kind of experience to high school students so that they could see Shakespeare performed instead of having to just read it. I think that it is the only way in which people understand why Shakespeare is relevant to us, is in seeing it performed.
I mean, you can read it on the page, but it's not the same thing as seeing it live, and even watching a movie isn't the same thing because there's kind of, I think, a connection you make with the actors when they're right on stage right there in front of you, and I think that makes a huge difference when you're trying to study Shakespeare and understand the language.
I love bringing Shakespeare in the Parks to the kids, and I don't just have them perform for my drama kids and my classes. I open it up, and we usually have about, how many did we have? Like 800 kids there in the auditorium. Some kids who never see theater at all, and some kids, like the kids I train and run, who see a lot of theater.
As of 2006, we will have played to over 250,000 students with the Shakespeare in the Schools tour. And we've gone from about 20 communities to last year we did 50 communities. It's a program that is continuing to grow and will continue to grow, especially as the elementary tour begins to mature. One of the most important aspects of Shakespeare in the Schools is that we only hire professional actors.
I didn't have anything like this when I was a kid. I've told people, a lot of different people, that I graduated from high school and I assumed Shakespeare was for people who were hyper intelligent, and Shakespeare would be read by college professors with ascots and tea and crumpets, and I just assumed that it was beyond me. And coming here and either just seeing it in the students' eyes or having the students come up to me and say they actually enjoyed Shakespeare and they didn't realize that they could. Because you can see it on their faces when they come into the gym or the auditorium that this is another thing they have to do. The teacher told them to be here, so they came here, so they don't get in trouble, and they really could care less about it. And then 75 minutes later, an hour and a half later, you can see that in their faces, in their eyes, that this is not something that is beyond them, that they can embrace it.
These days, there's so much fund cutting with things like the arts. And the creative arts lends itself, I believe, to using your imagination. And I think that is so important in every discipline, because I don't think that we advance or we gain any knowledge as human beings without it. One of the people I admire is Albert Einstein for saying that imagination is more important than knowledge. People need this.
The schools that we go to cannot afford to pay all the costs of it. Each school pays an $800 fee. And that really is only about 22% of what it really costs to do the program. So we have to get that somewhere else. We do that in a series of ways. Fundraisers, grants, and donations from private individuals. It is essential that we have help from outside or the program can't keep going. This is an extraordinarily exciting program for us. We've really raised the bar for this company in a way that we never dreamed would be possible. We don't want to stop, and we certainly don't want to take a step backwards. So we're going to continue to try to find ways to continue to do what we're doing and to generate excitement that is to keep this program moving.
We can only do that through corporate sponsorship, individual sponsorship, which is something new that started happening in the last 3 or 4 years. We've had several companies and individuals who have decided to pick a town, and it can be their hometown, it can be a school that they went to, and they just sponsor the program and bring it in. That has been very, very helpful to us. Last year we had 6 of our 50 towns were either privately sponsored or sponsored by a corporation or a company. I've spoke with a teacher last year who said that it's the only way he will ever get Shakespeare in the schools in his school. They will never have money in their budget for arts, and it will always have to be someone from outside the community that helps them and brings them in. They very much want to have us, but they have to have sponsorship for it. They're our future. They're the future of Shakespeare in the Parks. They're the future of our world. And I can't think of any better way to spend a day. Can you?
Thank you, Montana Shakespeare in the schools.